maths is very simple. We have the first tier. So actually, if I get the dress, it might help to see. So there'll be 3 tiers to this petticoat: 1, 2, and 3. And we're gonna keep calling them 1, 2, and 3 throughout. So tier 1 here needs to measure, or needs to be cut out at double the width or double the length of the Dolly's waist. So I need you to cut a strip for the first tier that is 9 centimeters deep. So there, 9 centimeters deep, and all in all 52 centimeters round. Then the next tier, tier 2, needs to be double the length of this one. So tier 2 needs to be cut at one strip of net at 9 centimeters by 104 centimeters, which is 4 times the waistband. And then strip 3, which is the largest of them, is the bottom one. Now this one has to be double tier 2. So for tier 3, we're going to be talking about a piece of net that essentially will be 9 centimeters by 208, because it's 8 times this. So we won't get that out of one width of fabric. So what you can do is, if you can imagine this is my piece of material and it's huge, you can either cut strips across the width, of which is about 100 centimeters on the net, I think, or you can buy extra net and you can do it in one piece along the selve edge. Doesn't matter on the net, because the net is not a directional weave, it's a man-made fabric. In the interests of not being wasteful, we've gone across, and it will give us a chance to show you how to do a French hem, to hem the pieces together to make that strip for the 3rd tier. So in actual fact, what I've asked you to do is cut 2 strips of net that are 101.5 centimeters each that way, and 9 centimeters deep. So it will go across there. And what we're going to do is we are going to join the 2 strips for tier 3 into a ring. We're going to join tier 2 into a ring, and we're going to join tier 1 into a ring. Tier 1, we are going to take the top side and we're going to gather it to the same width as the skirt and the bodice. With tier 2, what we're going to do is we're going to gather the top of it in our ring. We're going to gather the top of it so that it fits exactly the bottom of tier 1. And then with the 3rd ring, we'll stitch our 2 strips together to make one long one. We'll make that into a ring, and then we will gather the top of it to be the same measurement as the bottom ungathered edge of the 2nd tier. So essentially, if I grab the back of the pattern and I grab a pen, this is what we'll be doing. We'll end up with a gather at our waistline there, and no gather on tier 1. Then we're going to end up with a wider gather that measures the same as this circumference here, because remember it's a ring, with no gathering on the bottom. And then the final tier, the longest one, is going to be gathered to the same dimensions as going round the ring there, and the bottom is going to be raw. So the gathered edges get stitched to the non-gathered edge above, and the gathered edge gets stitched to the non-gathered edge above, and then this goes around Dolly's little waist there. It looks complicated, but believe me, it's not. So here's the calculation. If you want to make this a different size, you need to know the waist measurement, and you need to know the finished length. Okay. So what we want to do is we'll start with the length. So how long should each of these pieces be? This is 1, this is 2, this is 3. What we do is we take the finished length, so measure from the waist to where you want the petticoat to finish, and then we will divide that by 3. So it's finished length divided by 3. Okay, so let's say that Dolly's is 20, I was trying to add 7s together then, 7, 14, 21. Let's say that the finished length the finished length for Dolly's petticoat is 21 centimetres. Okay, so we're going to divide that by 3, which makes each part of these 7 centimetres. That one's 7 centimetres, but that won't give us enough for joins. So then what we need to do is we need to take our 7 centimetres and we add 2 centimetres, which is 1 centimetre extra here for joining and 1 centimetre extra here for joining. So we need our strips to be 9 centimetres deep. So let's change that to 9, change that to 9, change that to 9, because we are going to lose the bottom centimetre here and the top centimetre to our seams. Okay, now the maths for the length of how much tulle to cut is, the first one is Dolly's waist, and we're going to have to have waist, let's say it's 20 centimetres. I don't think it is, but for ease of maths, if her waist is 20 centimetres, then layer 1 needs to be 9 centimetres down and 40 centimetres across, because that is the waist times 2. So waist times 2 for tier 1. When we get down to tier 2, we need the waist times 4. So this one will be 9 centimetres down and 80 centimetres across. And when we get down to level 3, we're going to do the waist times 8. So that will be 9 and 8 20s. Anybody good on the maths? 160 is going to be 160 centimetres. Obviously, the reason we're joining them up to 20 something is because Dolly's waist is a bit more than 20 centimetres. So that is the maths. So you can now work out any maths you like. In fact, I'll prove it to you. So let's pretend we're making one for my daughter Alexis. Let's say Lexi's waist is 50 centimetres, and let's say that the length that she wants it is, well, let's say that's 150 centimetres, because I can do the maths. So we're going to do 100, and we're going to start with the length. We're going to do 150 divided into the 3 tiers, which is 1, 2, 3. So each tier has to be 50 centimetres plus 2 centimetres for our turns. That gives us 52 centimetres down. And her waist is 50. So tier 1 is 50 times 2. Tier 2 is 50 times 4. And tier 3 is 50 times 8. So I'm cutting 100 by 52 centimetres for the first tier. I'm cutting 200 centimetres for the second tier, and I'm cutting 400 centimetres for the third tier. And the methodology is exactly the same for any size, and that's the way we would do it. So that's the maths. Nice little diagram for you. Practice it with some random numbers yourself, or how about even give yourself a measure and see what your dimensions come out as.